I hadn't planned on making a whole bunch of these videos, but you guys seem to like them. So I'm going to continue giving you tips from an OG's perspective. And mainly what my focus has been is creating content which will bring new players into the game. And so I've kind of crafted my content towards more of a mainstream audience that don't know about Splinterlands, that might be attracted to the game based on my short form video. So if you want to help me do that, and as a stakeholder in Splinterlands, which if you own one card, you are a stakeholder in Splinterlands, and you should want new players to enter the game, you can help me to do that by sharing my short form videos. You can find on my YouTube or my Instagram channel under Gold Matters. So some of you are probably here for the tips, and what I see are ways to maximize your earnings and your investments into Splinterlands. And I can only tell you the things that I've done and things that have helped me, and hopefully they can help you. And nothing is a guarantee because we don't know where the game's going to go. We don't know anything that's going to happen. Despite having this magical plasma ball, it's not actually a crystal ball, so we just can't tell for sure. One of the things, however, that I have done is to emulate other successful players or investors in the game. So that takes some of the work out of it. You can already see this person has done a something that has set them apart and made them successful. And a lot of the times, the best people to look at, candidly, are people like myself, because since I was here from day one and I'm still here, there must be a reason that I've been able to achieve the deck that I have and the successes that I have. So what have I done that's different than everyone else? Some of the things are not different. So I've emulated other people that are some high-profile Splinterlands players and investors, and I'm going to give you some examples of that and how you can also think about that when you're incorporating your own Splinterlands strategy. So let's start with Neil McSpadden. Neil McSpadden, first of all, he's a friend of mine. He's a great guy, super nice, great guy to talk to. But he also is one of the early investors in Splinterlands, and he has built a monstrous deck. He has multiple regions, land regions. He has all kinds of Splinterlands assets. And how has he done this? How has he acquired all of this Splinterlands wealth? Well, he has shouted from the rooftop some of his strategies, which are very straightforward and easy to follow, and you can do it too. One of the things that he has done, before I go any further, breaking news, Neil is restarting his Monster Maverick show. So I recommend that you watch that show because you can hear it straight from him. And that show's been on a hiatus for, 6 months. I've been waiting. He left us on a cliffhanger on whether or not his air conditioning was going to get fixed. So that's one of the things you may find out if you watch his show. But he also employs all kinds of strategies. And one of them that he's had since the beginning is that Neil has picked up the common cards. And that's something that I totally overlooked. And a lot of people overlooked, except for Neil, because he figured that out. He bought a lot of the common alphas. I don't even know. Those cards were trading for a couple cents at some point. And I'm sure he got in there, and then he got a whole bunch of them. And now those cards have, I don't even know, 10, 50, maybe 100x, maybe more. And he did something. He saw an opportunity nobody else was paying attention to, and he took advantage of that. So you can learn from that by trying to find those things in the game that no one's looking at, no one's paying attention to, but assuming the game is going to follow this path of growth that it has been, will make those cards and those assets more valuable. And that's what Neil did. Let's move on and talk about another strategy which Matt Clark has done. So Matt Clark is another person that has been there from the very beginning, and he had a very unique investing strategy that very few people had thought of at the time when he implemented it. So everyone knows that Matt Clark decided on buying the Flesh Golem card in the Alpha Edition, and then he just decided that he was going to try to corner that card. So to corner a market, for those who are not familiar, is to basically buy so much of that particular asset that you control the price of that asset, because it limits the overall supply that's liquid and available for everyone else to trade. So Matt just totally went ham on the alpha flesh golems, and he has, I don't even know how many he has right now, but it's a significant percentage of the total supply. And so he followed that strategy all the way through, no matter what the price. He just kept buying, and now he has control, and that has directly affected the price of the alpha flesh golems if you compare them to other cards that are similar. And so he had a strategy, he stuck to it, and it was very successful. And Matt is a great guy, by the way. I love Matt. He's one of the nicest people of the entire game. So you got to get to know him. How about Aggro? So Aggro is the CEO, but he put his money where his mouth is from the very beginning. He purchased like a ton of cards, gold foil legendary cards, lots of different types of cards, and he put a lot of money into just buying everything, maxing out cards. And when the CEO of a company is that willing to put their money in, their personal money in, when he didn't have to, it kind of can give you some confidence. So that kind of strategy, following that insider buying, the legal insider buying, I think is another strategy that you can watch and take something from. So really what I'm saying is do something that no one else is doing at the time. So you don't want to just jump on the bandwagon and sell when everyone else is selling or buy when everyone else is buying. You can find your own little corner of the game, and then you can take advantage of that. So another example, I'll use myself, and this is similar to what Matt Clark was doing, and nobody else at that time was doing this. I started buying gold foil alpha legendaries when everyone else was not buying them, and they were too expensive for people. I mean, they were going for like a whopping like $300 at the time. Now, I mean, some of them are selling for tens of thousands of dollars. So that turned out to be the right move. But I started cornering a card as well, and the most well-known thing I'm known for up to this point has been cornering the gold foil alpha lightning dragons. And I started with that card because there was such a low supply available, and it would be the easiest card to do that with on a high value basis. It's different from Matt Clark's strategy because Matt Clark was buying these flesh golems for they were much cheaper per unit, but I was buying just the alpha gold foil lightning dragons because of the low supply and because they were available, and that has worked out quite well for me. And that's just one of the cards I did that to, and one of the ones I started with, and that's worked out so well. So that's a few examples of different strategies that I've used and that other successful Splinterlands investors that are very early on have used to get to this point. So what you're looking for is kind of asymmetrical upside with little downside. And the best example of that of this group that I just talked about would be Neil, because he bought the commons, which were going for a couple cents at the time. So that's it for today. I just wanted to kind of get that out there as one of the strategies, since you guys seem to like these type of videos, and I can talk more about what else I've done, and there's a lot, but too much just for one video. And the other thing I forgot to mention on the initial video about tips of things that you need to do when you first get started, you have to listen to the town halls. They are weekly. They've come a long way. They used to be completely different than they are now. Now they're all recorded. You can participate in them, and you find the best information, even just from the mood and the slight voice inflections of whoever's on them, the founders and all the team members. So watch the town halls. And I hope that was helpful. If you guys want specific information, please ask me. And remember, if this is helpful for you, please share my short videos to social media. That would mean a lot to me. Thanks, guys.